One of the aims of the federal government's so-called education revolution is to attempt to fix the problems in Indigenous communities. A range of alternatives are being looked at, including the controversial option of sending children to boarding schools in capital cities. A new program has been established in New South Wales, with big business paying the school fees for a group of Aboriginal girls. It's a program based on a successful model that's been running at Sydney's exclusive St Joseph's College for more than 5 years. But critics say it harks back to the days of the stolen generation. Brigid Glanville reports.
Today we're going to do a little task, question task.
6 years ago, Craig Ashby rarely saw the inside of a classroom. Today, he's training to be a high school history teacher.
So on that little propaganda sheet...
I couldn't spell my address. I couldn't read at all. Could write my name. I think my writing was scribble a lot, just the copy of what was on the board. And it was just scribbled. You wouldn't be able to read it if you tried to.
So if you get a source question in the school certificate...
When I first met Craig when he was 15, I wouldn't have thought that he would be in the position he is now, where he's a real leader for his people as a young Aboriginal person.
Craig Ashby grew up in the outback town of Hugonnet, 10 hours drive northwest of Sydney. He was raised by his grandmother and grew up in a small house with 3 other families. Getting an education was not a priority.
I didn't go to school at all. I used to wag most periods, just go and keep back on the oval and chat out with my mates.
By the time Craig Ashby was 15, he decided he wanted more and discovered that some other boys from Hugonnet had won scholarships at St Joseph's College in Sydney, one of the country's most exclusive private schools.
They showed me their uniform and everything, and they were talking about Joey's, and I just thought it looked good in the uniform, so I went around to our priest and I just asked him could I go away, practically begged him could he send me.
So what are the main arguments used?
6 years on, Craig Ashby has never looked back, and neither has the school. 44 Aboriginal boys from around New South Wales are now on full scholarships and have adjusted to boarding school life.
OK guys, listen in please, everybody. Tonight is the last night of formal study before your half-yearlies.
Over the past 5 years, 69 Aboriginal boys have taken part. Of that, 8 have left the school before completing their HSC. But the school says the boys are selected on the basis of financial need rather than academic or sporting ability.
It'll change depending on their circumstances. Desire, absolutely want to be here. Their family, the reasons their family want them to be here, the views of their teachers in their current schools as to why they think this is a good option for them and not another option. All of those things weigh in heavily with us.
The St Joseph's model has worked so well that 4 Sydney girls' schools want to get involved.
So to all of you, a very warm welcome to St Vincent's for this very important occasion.
The Australian Indigenous Education Foundation has been set up to fund the schooling of Aboriginal girls. St Vincent's College in inner city Sydney is on board.
Historically, there's been a strong concern for Indigenous people and ensuring justice for those people. So it's part of the culture of our school to offer this.
St Joseph's old boy Andrew Penfold was an investment banker and lawyer who gave up his successful career to develop the program.
Different things work in different environments. And if there are children that want to go to schools like this, they should have that choice. They shouldn't be excluded from that choice or that opportunity of being able to go to those schools.
We undertake to do all in our power to advance the causes of reconciliation.
Jackie Gibbs, who's in Year 12, comes from Gaduga, a town with a population of 350 people in country New South Wales.
I was really afraid of public speaking. I hated it, and being with my teacher in my English class, they've helped me to become more in myself, self-esteem build up. Play it all through.
Up until now, her fees have been paid by the school, but it can now use money from the new foundation to educate another 20 students.
People just think that you've changed just because you've gone away to school, and it's not. We we're still the little country girls from home, like, who love it. So he came away and knowing that, like, you can be, like, whatever you want, especially coming from such a good school.
I wondered whether she would be able to stay because it seemed very daunting for her. But Jacqueline has just grown in stature and in confidence and in love of the school. She just loves the school.
They made a series of, like,
Jackie Gibbs is looking forward to finishing school, travelling overseas, going on to university. Her family's admiration and support from her younger sister has made boarding school life a little easier.
They're really proud of us. It's really good to go home and hear that. Like, we come home, my dad's always sitting on his little lounge and he's like talking about school, and he's like, I just want you girls to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of trying your hard at a school. I know it's hard and difficult sometimes, but I'm really proud of you for staying in and doing this for us.
While this program model has many success stories, such as Jackie Gibbs and Craig Ashby, it's not without its critics.
Let's not pretend that this is the panacea or the thing that's going to fix everything in Indigenous education, because it really comes down to probably less than 2% who have any scope to access success or access any benefit from that kind of strategy.
What's the best way to do that?
Chris Sarra is the Executive Director of the Indigenous Education Leadership Institute. He wants the federal government to build more schools in rural and regional areas so that children don't have to leave their communities to go to school.
In some circumstances, from some of the flash boarding schools, the culture of those places certainly are questionable, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend to anybody that that's not the case, that the culture of those elite schools are somewhat remote from those that children experience in communities. And there's a tendency not to stretch too much in those kinds of schools. It's either fit in or fare well.
Does taking Aboriginal children away from their communities hark back to the days of stolen generation?
I think right now, I don't think we don't have a choice. We need to stand up and we need to make a stand against the problems within our communities. And whether it's a black person who's going to lead us or a white person, I think this is probably one of the best solutions of helping our kids.
3, 2, 1.
Craig Ashby is now so sure that boarding schools can help provide a future for Indigenous children that he's out to convince the corporate world to donate to the new foundation.
And only up to year 10, I assume, was it? No, year 12.
The Australian Indigenous Education Foundation has attracted some of the country's most high-profile leaders. The scholarships don't receive any government funding, but as part of the Prime Minister's education revolution, this is one of the options being considered to help improve Indigenous education. Craig Ashby says he's proof it's possible and it can work.
I just want kids to not experience what I experienced as a kid and not make stupid mistakes, to take everything and stop playing this, you know, poor little Aboriginal game and start stepping up and become leaders and contributing to your people and your community.
Brigid Glanville with that report. For a longer version of the interview with Cardinal George Pell or any of our other stories, just go to our website at abc.net.au/730. That's the programme for tonight. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow. But for now, good night.